guys, it's me, Judy. Welcome back to my channel, Electronic Medium. Today we're going to talk about Echo Lloyd. Echo Lloyd, just like Suzanne Morphy, she was last seen around Mother's Day 2020. Today we're going to go over the case, look at some maps, ask a lot of questions, and do a review. I have done one spirit box session so far regarding Echo Lloyd, and I'll show you a clip of that here. So just so you guys know, I will be dedicating my next 3 videos to spirit box sessions asking about Echo Lloyd. This is Kelsey Smith. She is Echo Lloyd's oldest daughter, and this is a heartbreaking plea. So let's go through it. Let's talk about it. Let's look at some maps, ask some questions. Here we go.
Okay. I am really nervous. It has been 11 months since my mom, Echo Michelle Lloyd, has went missing. She went missing the week of Mother's Day, May 10th, 2020. She is 5'4", about 100 to 110 pounds. She was 47 when she went missing. Brown hair, brown eyes, beautiful smile. I apologize for the noise outside the car. I wanted to do this before an appointment today and while I had the time. I have been scared for many reasons not to do this. But I have to stop letting fear. I have to stop letting fear get in the way and do what I think is right.
First of all, this just seems wrong. Why would you have to be afraid to talk about your missing mother? Why would you have to be afraid? Kelsey, are you concerned about the neighbor or afraid of the police that you might mess something up if you talk too much? Heartbreaking. Why should she be afraid to talk about her missing mother?
Because bringing my mom home is the most important thing, no matter what. And I can't let fear of upsetting anybody get in the way, or the fear of the police not helping us even more than they already are. I'm so sorry, I'm shaking so bad. Okay, so I wanted to make sure we back law enforcement because it's their job and their duty to help me bring Mom home and bring justice for my family.
Okay, we get that, right? But just like my daddy always told me, trust but verify. And that includes with the police department. There is such a thing as corrupt law enforcement or even departments that don't do their job, right? Working on cases here in Arizona, I've seen it with my own eyes. When a search team goes out, even with their dogs, as soon as they find out that, oh, let's say a person had been a drug addict or that a person had been a prostitute, they lose interest. They go and have breakfast. I've seen this with my own eyes, guys, here in Arizona.
And I'll always stand behind Blue. 100%. And you don't really know what's going on in the beginning, and the more time that goes on, the more you see, the more you know, and the more you understand. So I wrote a list of reasons why we need to start asking the police what's going on and what's happening in Benton County, Missouri. So from day one, I was told I wasn't allowed to go to the police or go to the media, whether that was radio, Facebook, or radio, Facebook, news outlets, anything. They asked us not to do that and not to ask for help finding her because they didn't want to scare anybody away.
Well, now wait a minute. The police told her in the beginning that there was no reason to suspect foul play, that she just left on her own accord. So they wouldn't even bring a tracking dog out to search around her house and see if they could find some kind of trail into the woods. So why would they tell her not to talk about things? I don't get it.
And I waited 2 days, and I just didn't feel like it was right that I wasn't asking for help. And so I did it anyways, and some family got upset that I posted her on Facebook. And it's understandable because law enforcement had asked us not to, and I went behind what they had asked us to do and did it anyway.
Kelsey, I don't blame you one bit. I would have done the exact same thing if it was my mother, my father, my brother, even my dog. So I don't blame you, and I'm sorry that family got upset with you over this.
And go ahead and roll my window. And I had some people upset with me, and I understand that. So when they got there, I mean, from the get-go, you know, I knew something was really wrong, and I knew who they needed to go question, and I've been scared to say. They said that I could get in trouble for slander.
Now, from my understanding, if you say this person's name and use words like, in my opinion, or allegedly, you cannot get in trouble for slander. And you know what? So far, this police department is not giving me a warm and fuzzy feeling here, guys.
But my mom came to me 2 weeks before she disappeared, and she told me all kinds of stuff for hours, and then she left, and it really messed me up. I didn't talk to anybody about it for about 5 days because I just couldn't comprehend what was happening, and she was calling me and checking in. And so I told him, you need to go question this person right now. You need to go down there right now. They know that I called you, and they've got her somewhere. They've done something to her, and they told me to calm down. You don't know that that's what happened. You don't know that that's what happened. Start from the beginning and tell me from the beginning. And so I did. And there was so much at that point, so many times I'd had to go to her house, or her and I had discussions. I'd had to sit this person down and tell them, you have no boundaries.
So Kelsey is talking about her mother coming to her and talking to her about concerns she had about the neighbor. That the neighbor was coming over unannounced, just walking into the house, kind of had taken over the house, borrowing car keys and things, and even when he supposedly, allegedly was left a note not to come over, he still would show up in the yard and at the house. So that's who she's talking about here.
She's so hard she doesn't do confrontation well, and so she called me and said, please come over. And I did. And to have to sit them down and tell someone you have no boundaries, there should be no Okay, I'm really sorry my phone got too hot. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Alright, where I left off was, they told me to calm down and repeat everything, and so I did. And when they got there, I mean, when I went to her home, and by the time I got into her house, I did touch things, but I mean, immediately what was going through my head was don't touch anything, don't touch anything, don't touch anything, you know, barely touch things. And they weren't wearing gloves.
Wait, what do you mean they weren't wearing gloves? What?
And so anyways, one of the deputies had pulled me to the side, and I wrote everything down in absolute detail and kept telling them they needed to go question them.
So Kelsey just said question them. So the neighbor that is of concern here must have lived with someone else? Can anyone clarify that?
So they walked around or whatever. I didn't know that, like, on a podcast I had mentioned her pistol, and I didn't know that I didn't even pull anything out. I got a call from Sheriff Knox about that,
and told me that I was ruining her case by talking about it.
So you did hear her, right, guys? She mentioned the pistol. The pistol was found somewhere outside in the yard. That's what she's talking about. She mentioned it on a podcast.
About any of it. And I was going to mess things up, which doesn't make sense because before that I was told he'd probably have to do it again in order to get caught. So anyways, we walked around or whatever, and it was about 5 hours, 6 hours that I was there. And when I was able to leave, that's when deputies were down questioning the neighbors. And the specific neighbor I talked about was not there. And I thought, well, that's funny. And come to find out, it took the police knocking on their door for them to come to the door, and they've like, we've been out here knocking, trying to talk to you. What have you been doing? And they were taking a nap. Now, you're my mom's only friend who forced her to go places. I want everybody to be reminded of that. My mom told me she felt like something was a community effort. It was a community effort not to let her car be fixed in time.
Okay, wait, it was a community effort to keep her car from being fixed on time? Can anybody fill me in on this? Any more information about that? Was her car not fixed the day that Kelsey came over? Well, the police came over and said her car was still in the driveway. Is it because it was still broken down? Does anyone know?
And I don't care if I sound crazy. I don't care anymore. Like, this shit has to, I'm so sorry, this stuff has to get out. I've been holding a lot in. So when we did the foot search, I kept saying we need dogs or whatever. And that was going to be scheduled for Saturday because they came out and did the initial investigation starting that on Friday. And so Saturday we did a foot search with about 25 people or so. We only searched about 3 to 4 miles behind her home and like a U-turn and back to her property. That's it. There is Forbes land that is over 12,400 acres that starts to butt up to her property. So all we did was search this small area. Sorry, and then he went. Sheriff Knox said we're gonna call off the dogs. They rescheduled them for Sunday. We're gonna call off the dogs. We don't believe that she disappeared from her home.
Okay, so just to clarify, there apparently were dogs out at the home and searched for a very short period of time until the sheriff called them off. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the dogs were out there at all. So let's continue.
Okay, but why would you think that? Because her purse was there, her ID was there, her car was there. I mean, and then forensics didn't come for about 2 weeks to her property.
Wait, what? 2 weeks? So that means the neighbor could have been in that house getting rid of things, cleaning things up, wiping things down for 2 weeks? Really?
So it was a sitting duck. They told me basically that, I shouldn't have my hopes up and she's probably just gone.
Well, if that's the case, then the sheriff's department shouldn't mind at all if Kelsey and her family start shouting this from the rooftops, right?
I was told at one point, I called after 2 months, I called the sheriff's department back and said, listen, can I go to media yet? Can I go to news outlets? I was told by a specific deputy, I'll have to ask, my sergeant, but I'll call you back. Sorry, the tornado sirens are going off right now. My phone's getting hot again.
Okay, stop. This poor girl is pleading for her mother and the tornado sirens are going off and she doesn't even care. This is heartbreaking, guys.
So hopefully it doesn't shut off. They'd have to ask their sergeant and get back to me. And they called me back and said, no, you still do not need to go to the media. And I asked why, and they said, we cannot, tell you what to do. That's what this specific person said. I cannot tell you what to do. Hold on a minute, guys. I know that's so loud. I cannot tell you what to do, whether to go or not to go to the media, but they do not want false leads to be brought in, and they do not want to scare off the possible, who possibly did this.
Oh, really? Because the sheriff's department told her before not to, have a lot of hope that she's probably just gone. So this police department is sketchy, guys. Sketchy already. Sketchy.
Okay, but how are you going to get leads to come in if we don't get the word out? On another note, when it comes to a missing person, even if it's no foul play suspected, there aren't many of them that I have seen where they're not releasing where they were last publicly seen, who they were last publicly seen with, what the vehicle they were in, what they were wearing. I have not been given this information. I have not been given anything at all whatsoever. I have been begging, I have been pleading. It's been a little over a week or so the last time that I spoke with the lead detective, and I was highly upset. And I said, it's time for me to bring the truth to the light because there's so much more going on in Benton County. But right now my focus is my mom. So it took time for them to think that she might possibly be in danger. They just kept saying she just disappeared, and we're like, she wouldn't do that, she wouldn't do that. That didn't matter. And they knew she was without her medication, so why wasn't she an endangered missing person? And I was also told that that would not change how they are doing their investigation if she was endangered, which she should have been. She was without medications that she needed. And let's see, man. So they won't give any information. The Dollar General, in the beginning, because there's so many leads that haven't been followed up on, multiple people who have come to us with information, and we make sure to pass that on immediately. And then come to find out, they'll contact us again later and say, hey, they didn't touch base with us. They haven't done an interview. I have been told by the lead detective that they have done about 60 interviews. Okay, so when it comes to Suzanne Morphew's case, okay, and I know it's a different case, but over the span of a year, they did over 400 interviews, even across state lines. I have no air in my car right now, so sorry. I look like a hot, sweaty mess, and I know it. Okay, I apologize. I had an appointment. I wanted to try to get this in before my appointment and wasn't able to. And then my phone kept overheating and shutting my live off. So I apologize for that. Welcome to my world. Things like that happen all the time. So I'm really sorry. Third time is hopefully, fingers crossed, a charm. All right, so I don't know if I left off about where the dogs were. And 2 months in, when I asked about going to the media, that's when I started calling. I called the FBI. I called Kansas City. I called Springfield. I called Missouri State Highway Patrol. I called the governor's office, the senator. I called the attorney general, and I was told by the attorney general's office, sorry, we don't deal with anything like that, which at the time, I didn't know anything. Still kind of don't, if I'm honest, about the attorney general. So I felt stupid because, people had told me to go speak, talk to the attorney general, and people still do, and they find that odd that I was told that they don't deal with this kind of thing. Because I needed help. I wanted help. I knew something was really wrong. Like, why are we being told to be quiet about this? If you're guessing that she's just gone and it's going to have to happen again in order for them to be caught, why am I being quiet about trying to find her? It doesn't make any sense. And, we were all saying that she didn't disappear on her own. She wouldn't leave her kids. She wouldn't leave her grandkids, which is true. My mom, before, if my mom needed a weekend away, she had 4 freaking kids. So she would let her husband know where she was going, and she would take a weekend away. That is a normal thing to do if you need that time for you. But she always told somebody where she was going. So her not telling anybody, her home phone, starting to go straight to voicemail is really odd.
Guys, anyone that can answer this can help me out, please, in the comments. What would make a home phone not ring and go straight to voicemail? A home phone? Like a landline? I don't get it.
And that started the day after Mother's Day. It started going straight to voicemail. And when I text her second phone, because she has 2 phones, okay? She has a T-Mobile phone, that's an iPhone, and then she had a Verizon phone, which was a prepaid phone, because in Edwards down there, you have really bad cellular service, and T-Mobile isn't the best in that area. It's pretty bad. But Verizon, if you go to certain spots, you could get at her property service. This person had taken over that phone. This person had told her, I have photos of your brand new grandson, because I kept sending my mom pictures and wondering why aren't you trying to interact with my baby? Like, why aren't you trying to interact with me? You know, that's your grandbaby. She wasn't allowed to be at the hospital, and we knew that. And when she showed up to my house, she said, I knew, and I was told, like, you know, I've got the pictures of your baby, but I'm not going to show them to your grandbaby. And if you don't understand manipulation, if you don't understand vulnerability, and being in a vulnerable place, because my mom was a vulnerable person. My mom was naive to people. My mom just, love was the answer to everything, and she wanted to be friends with everybody, and she wanted to help everybody, even when she needed help herself. She just continued to give even when her cup was empty. And if you don't understand manipulation and people who are good at finding victims, you won't understand where her head was. And at the same time, when she came to my house, I don't know, I think she was doing it to protect me. My mom is hard-headed. I think she had the idea that she was, you know, this is it, this is the time I'm going to put my foot down, because like I said, my mom's non-confrontational. I don't know, you know, I try not to hold guilt, because I just feel like I wish, I don't know what I wish I would have done, like physically picked her up and like put her in my son's room, locked the door, like, you aren't leaving, stay in the tower. You know, you can't do that. I wanted to, but I didn't. I let her go. And I really regret that now. And so on that note, with these 2 cell phones, what is going on with the phones and the information on the phones? What's going on with that?
Okay, I just want to bring this up real quick about the phones. On May 10th, on Mother's Day, Kelsey received a text from the neighbor that they were at Walmart. So to me, that means that there was a phone with them. But then it is said that either before or after Walmart, Echo was seen at a Dollar General. Now, there was a discrepancy whether it was the one in Warsaw, which is like super close to Walmart, or if it was the one in Climax Springs. Now, there was a Facebook post that I saw from a YouTube channel called Left Undone, and she was talking about the cashier at the Dollar General in Warsaw. So I will link her channel in the description here, but let's take a listen to the YouTube channel Left Undone.
So let me read to you what he posted about his interaction that day with Echo. They said she was trying to buy a cell phone and a phone card, but her check was declined. Here is the quote. They say it was 100% Mother's Day. She was trying to buy a cell phone and a cell phone card to call her kids because it was Mother's Day. We offered the Dollar General phone for her to make a call when she was unable to purchase the cell phone because the check was bad and it was declined. He said something about an ex draining her account or taking her money or something along those lines, and that's why the check was rejecting. I think she ended up using the few dollars she had to buy a soda and a lighter, if I'm correct. That part I'm a little fuzzy on since it's been so long, but all the other details I'm 100% about.
Also, at the end of her note, she said, also, I did not see what type of car, but that doesn't mean that the vehicle was not captured on CCTV or some video somewhere out front, and we just don't know that information. I also heard on the YouTube channel Left Undone that the cashier from the Climax Springs Walmart, the description of Echo apparently didn't really match her. However, it is possible that she went to 2 Dollar Generals on that same day, right?
There's got to be something. It has been a year. I've been told, you know, it's got to be passed up the ladder to get the pings, to get information. Okay, that's fine. Has anything come of that? You know, I didn't start. There are things, of course, that I cannot speak on, And I know that. But with the phone pings, information with the phones, where is that? What's going on with that? What's happening there? Well, Kelsey, what do you want us to look into? I don't know everything. You're the police. I'm not understanding why you're coming to me and like, well, what do you want us to do? I want you to do your job. That's what I want you to do. I want you to find some answers. We've come to this day and there are more questions than answers. The person that I believe in my heart that did this to my mother, for a multitude of reasons, I have so much evidence, and of course, you know, it's his word against her word.
Okay, I'm just gonna spit it out, you guys. Allegedly, in my opinion, I saw this information also on the YouTube channel Left Undone, that this neighbor has the same last name as Kelsey, which is Smith. Obviously, that's a common name. And I'm just gonna say it, allegedly, in my opinion, this neighbor's name is Josh Smith. Okay? Josh Smith.
I am not here for anything but the truth. And my mom, I have no reason to lie. He has every reason to lie about everything. So he had a grandfather that he lived with in Duroc Bay. That grandfather was sweet on my mom. He would bake her pies, she'd make him dinner, things like that. He'd call up there, he'd check on her at the house. 2 weeks after my mom disappears, his grandfather passes away. Not from old age, but from a fall. His back was broken in half. And it wasn't just in one day that he goes to the hospital and passes away. No, he was left on the floor for 3 days. 3 days.
So just to be clear, guys, she's talking about the neighbor, Josh Smith, and his grandfather. So allegedly, did Josh Smith harm his own grandfather? We don't know.
And then a family member called and said, you know, a neighbor, and said, listen, you've got to go check on him. I can't get him and see, you know, how he is. And they went in and he was on the floor and he passed away on the 4th day. They did no autopsy. They did nothing, knowing my mom's case has been opened, okay? Knowing that I've been saying this person, like, look in this direction, like, what is going on here? Have you done a search of their home? Have you done anything? I mean, crazy things. This person was doing really weird stuff at this property, booby trapping the house, doing different things like that. Why would you do that if you didn't have a guilty conscience? Doesn't make any sense. He did all kinds of things to that house after his grandfather passed away, but nothing was done with it. And by the time I kind of had somebody's ear, you know, he'd been cremated, and couldn't be exhumed to do an autopsy because I really wanted to try to get his family justice also. So the information with the Dollar General especially, because there is that conflict of Climax Springs and Edwards, or in Warsaw, I apologize, Climax Springs and Warsaw, okay? So the confirmation that we have is by speaking to the employees at the Dollar General in Warsaw personally, person to person. And we were told it was Warsaw, Missouri. We've been told that. The only thing I've recently been told is my information is wrong, which makes no sense. I was told that by law enforcement. Now my information is wrong. And the thing is if there's anything going on, if I felt like they were doing anything, I wouldn't be doing this. But I need justice for my mom. My mom needs justice. That is the whole reason they're in a position. You are to be there to help uphold the law. Put people behind bars that deserve to be behind bars. You can't take another person's life into your own hands and make a decision to end it. And that's what somebody did, and they're just letting them go. Forever. I can't tell you if there was one person, I know, but I do know for a fact that that person involved. Everything needs to them, and yet somehow the cops don't have anything. And what blows my mind, evidence. What's going on with evidence? How is everything circumstantial. And what I also don't understand is Suzanne Morphew's husband is behind bars. Her body has not been found. I understand they've done a bunch of interviews and things like that, but then you don't have any physical freaking evidence in front of you, right? And that guy's behind bars. So what's happening with my mom's case? I have been told not to trust law enforcement on this case. I have been told that by other law enforcement.
Okay, guys, you just heard that, right? She has been told by other law enforcement not to trust law enforcement.
And if anybody wants to call me a liar or anything, I have learned to save everything. So at this point, I trust nobody. I can't even trust the people that are supposed to help me, because something is wrong. Something's going on. It just doesn't make sense. And then they'll tell people at Texas EquiSearch, really wanted to come up. Well, you see, we don't have a place to start. How about her house? I don't know. That's a place to start. They have no answers for me. And I'll say, why did Benton County put Climax Springs, not Warsaw? Well, I'm told by one group, by Missouri State Highway Patrol, I'm sorry, we can't answer for Benton County. And I'm told by Benton County, you can't answer for the Sheriff's Department. Nobody can answer anybody's questions. They want me to just go to the other person. They don't work together as a team like they should and discuss everything. There are so many times that there's been information that I know has been told to them more than once, and then they'll be like, well, I didn't have that in my notes. What do you mean you didn't have it in your notes? And then what they want me to do is start from the beginning and go all over it again. And don't get me wrong, I will do it. But now I have a whole year's worth. My family, and close friends who are trying really hard to find mom have all of these different leads and information, and some of them are true. We don't know if they're true or not true, because as far as I know, nothing's being done with a lot of it. A lot of it, I'm being told one thing, and then you find out later that it's not happening. There's been no press releases, which I don't understand. And then Sheriff Knox getting on the interview 2 months in and saying, you're right, we're going to need the help from our citizens to find this woman. Really? Because I've been in the hot seat with my family, because I'm ready to scream it from the mountaintops and ask where she is and what's going on. I felt cornered when I went and finally sat down with Sheriff Knox. He made sure he had 2 other deputies sitting back in a corner quietly. This isn't to try to make you feel intimidated. Well, how are you not supposed to feel intimidated? And all I could do was sit there and shake my head at what he had to say. There's a lot going on in Benton County, and again, my point is to find my mother. But there are murders that are being called suicides. People aren't lying about those. People are getting away with a lot and not getting in trouble. And you wonder why. I lived in Edwards for a little while, and I can honestly say that that will not happen ever again. Driving to my house, of course, there are a lot of abandoned properties and things like that. Houses burned down out there. You can smell the dope cooking. Tell me how the Sheriff's Department doesn't notice that. You can see an abandoned house that's fallen in and dilapidated, and there's smoke rising from the chimney. There are places that I was told she was forced to go to, and right after she disappeared, I started questioning around. come to find out that place was, I mean, it was true. It was like everything I questioned about what she had told me 2 weeks before she disappeared was more confirmation than anything. And it's just, the whole 2020 in hindsight really sucks. I don't know what I wish I would have done. I just wish I wouldn't have let her leave. It's time for us to start knocking on Benton County's door and Missouri State Highway Patrol's door and asking them what's really going on with this case. Why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you answering any of my questions or giving me legitimate answers or an actual answer other than, I'm sorry, it's an open investigation, I can't tell you anything? That makes absolutely no sense to me. You guys keep saying there's no foul play suspected. So you're not going to tell me what she was seen on CCTV wearing? Who she might have been with, what vehicle she was in? That's weird. That is weird. It is weird to tell me I can't ask for help. The Sheriff's Department was not happy that I was trying to get Texas Equisearch, FBI, everybody else, and at one point I was told, you know, Missouri State Highway Patrol will get all the credit for this. So that's what you're worried about, credit? This has been a whole year building up, watching other things unfold in Benton County. I'll never go back. I've got, you know, and I don't care anymore. If people want to think that I'm crazy, if you think I'm wrong for doing this, so be it. So be it. The truth needs to come to the light. And I don't know who's playing on what side in Benton County. I don't know who's dirty, who's not. I don't know why nothing is happening with her case, but there is definitely a reason nothing is happening with her case. And at this point, I want to know why. I am not going to be pushed around anymore. I am not going to be put on the back burner. I am not going to let her be forgotten. We cannot let her be forgotten. Please don't let my mom become a cold case. Please get anybody, everybody, news media outlets. She's been missing a year. Let's get national coverage. Get people to start asking these guys what's going on. If you knew you were not equipped in the beginning to look for my mom, why? Why did you wait until September to have Highway Patrol step in? Because I'd been asking since July. I'd been begging since July. I'd been telling State Highway Patrol, actually the lead detective on this case, what do I need to do to be able to get you on? And then with Missouri State Highway Patrol, I said, what do I need to do to get the FBI involved? And at this point, I trust no one, and my head is spinning. I've been really worried about people being upset with me by telling the truth, my truth, whether it's yours or not. It's my truth, and I have the proof. I have the proof to back me. You learn to record everything and keep note of everything. So everyone, what I can ask of you today is to please start asking Highway Patrol and Benton County Sheriff's Department what's going on in Benton County and where is Echo Lloyd? Why haven't you searched certain areas that we know should have been searched right from the get-go? Anywhere else probably would have sent a search team out to search certain areas, especially of the water that's around her home. I try not to get too excited, but there it is. There's the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Why someone is not behind bars right now, I do not know. I do not understand. I don't know what you're doing to earn your paycheck when it comes to you being on my mom's case. And I apologize if that comes off as rude, but I am done. I am angry. I am fed up. I am fed up. I need people to hear me more now than ever. I am scared. I am scared, especially now coming out. There's a lot of things that are covered up down there. But first and foremost, my mom. And Not that other people don't matter, but my mom comes first in my book. So, here we are, 11 months and 1 day of Mom missing. I just want help finding her. That's all I want is her home, and I'll do whatever it takes to bring her home. I love you guys. My family loves you. Thank you for your support. I really hope I've got everybody behind me on this. Let's work together and bring Echo home, please.
If you have any information about this case, please call Benton County Dispatch or the Missouri State Highway Patrol. I will put a link to my first Spirit Box session here in the description, and 3 more sessions are coming up. Thanks, guys. Please share.